Hold the mic, or do you want to hold the mic?
I'll
People.
take it.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like,
We'll just
people
have
tend to have a preference. Yes.
yeah, I'll take it. Yeah, I think in this state, it's okay to let's pass the baton.
Okay. All right. We'll pass the baton. All right. Hi, Jules Aldaz here with Scene and Essay Magazine, and I'm at the wonderful historic Woodlawn Theater in San Antonio for the Animalis Fabula Film Festival, and I am here with.
Tom McPhee, festival director.
And Tom, tell me what motivated you to begin this wonderful festival.
Well, let me take that. So it actually goes back a bit. So I've wanted to run a festival even before I was involved with animals on Thanksgiving weekend. I used to run the Detroit and Windsor Festival of Film back in the late 90s. I created something called Flicks Tour, and we used to take filmmakers like Paul Feig on tour to college campuses, and I had partners like Discover Card and Pelly Pelly Clothing, and we were kind of doing some really cool stuff in the late 90s to promote and build the whole independent scene. And at that time, I recognized that there was this big hole on Thanksgiving weekend where everybody got out of our way and nobody did, and around the world. So this is it's our just Thanksgiving weekend. It's our Thursday. It's not anybody else's. Everybody else is like getting on with their day and everything. But all the other festivals, and there's about 10,000 of them, stop because they don't want to compete. Like, oh, we're not. My take on it is, thank you very much. You've given us a complete open hole. This is the only time in the course of the year that, except for like the very end of the year where there's not a festival, we think we can build this out like a Comic Con or a Space Con, and bring in some really important people that people will love to meet that are involved with making stories about animals.
Well, I think that's wonderful. And I mean, so many people, there's so many animals to love, right? So many stories to tell. And what have you found the most interesting this weekend with the films coming in and with the audience? What have you found that you just see people going crazy over?
I'll say it's actually experience. So it's the experiences that I'm having. Um, I've had a lot of moments in the last 2 days. Like I'm experiencing interactions with people for the first time. Like part of doing this is to build this portal so other people can come here and share what they do so we can have our brains expand and be really inspired, right? I love the idea of this portal. I go to other places all the time, but a lot of people don't have an opportunity to travel, and the idea of bringing people here is pretty crazy. So I like that concept of it right there. And I like putting things together. And when I can put people together and it's the right mix, it's like it gives me a lot of joy. Okay, so it started out with us inviting Romy Faye to come and present the Chosen Adventures yesterday. That went so beautiful. It was really well. She sang these gorgeous songs as well at the end. And we had her introduced by local artist Miriam Spunkin, who's currently in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, which comes out this coming week. And she's got some other films coming out. And then I believe Romy has, I think it's called Arco, that's coming out. This new anime. It's gonna be nationwide release. She's the star, and I'm watching these two. Like I invited Miriam through her mom Rebecca, who I got to know because Miriam was here last year with Dolphin Summer. That she starred with Kylie Nichols here, also a local. She's gonna be a star, and my thing was, oh, I'd love to have. I'm taking long to get there, but it was such a moment for me, and there was many like this. But it was I wanted to have these two young talents an opportunity to meet, and basically, let's like. I didn't want Romy, this 12-year-old, soon to be 13-year-old, to come here just by herself and no one else.
Right.
So I wanted her to have kind of like a built-in girlfriend already when she got
I
here.
mean, what a beautiful and thoughtful gesture. I mean, not everyone would think about that.
But that's kind of how my brain goes sometimes, right? So I'm they're about to go out for their Q&A after the whole thing, and they're out there, and what was so cool is Ted is about to address the audience, and they're back there in a hug, dancing, like enjoying the moment, getting prepared to come out and do their shtick and the whole thing. And I just thought, Oh, I just think I saw some history like right this moment. I think Romy Faye is going to be a Natalie Portman or bigger. Like I keep using Natalie Portman because it's someone who people respect and know, and
Right,
she's
right.
really popular. But Romy Faye is probably going to eclipse that. Into, like she's 13, she's got 300
I was
performances on Broadway.
right. I was just going to say that. Let's mention again that she is 13 years old. I mean, pretty amazing. Exactly, exactly. So you have brought a lot of great talent here and from all over the world, and you.
Films from Qatar. We have a young superstar. I think he works in the Qatar Film Institute, which is part of Northwestern as well. His name is Johua Queralgo, and he made a film called Shadow Boy. And then we have another film from one of our alums who made a film called 25 Cats from Qatar. So here you can
I saw that.
watch dog and cat films from Qatar. Where else can you do that in San Antonio? Right?
Exactly, exactly.
Filmmakers are here.
And so tell me about that. What influences your decision on who to bring in?
Good storytelling. Like we're really like this is really important for us in terms of what we're doing. For instance, we want to include more local films, but we have a very high bar in terms of the type of movies that we want to share with an audience and what we're trying to do to inspire them. So our curatorial bar, I've been doing this for 30 years, curating movies and producing movies. I produce documentaries, TV shows. Um, so I have a great deal of pride in terms of what we select, and I'm always involved deeply in that process, and even reaching out to the filmmakers and why we're doing it. So for me, it's setting a bar, and if people start to understand that we have really great movies, we have great people that are behind those movies, they'll want to come to see what we're doing just because we're doing it.
Right, right. And tell us, you have also brought in several nonprofit organizations to be here this weekend. And what motivated you to bring those in?
That's a really good question that goes to our core. So I run the World Animal Awareness Society. I founded this nonprofit after going off and making a film about what happened in New Orleans following Hurricane Katrina. It's called American Opera, the greatest pet rescue ever. It's still playing around the world. Um, I toured that film. I got to go to about 50 or 60. I had a big 35-foot bus. I had sponsors that helped underwrite me going around and finding organizations like this to kind of partner with. I knew nothing about any of this stuff, so I'm aware. I actually interact with this environment to somewhat. I know animals and so on, but I had no idea the whole rescue or welfare space um, at all before this, and it hit me like a ton of like it was all in an instant, and I'm not kidding. So 20 years ago, 2005, I'm just days after Hurricane Katrina. I'm in New Orleans. I'm at the 0 point where all the animals are coming in because the cops forced the people to separate from the animals and then went around all the parishes and started to exterminate the dogs. I had not been. I had some cameras with me, even though we were down there to do something else. So I just started telling stories, and I said, "Hey, I have a camera. They had 5,000 animals that just came into this one place in Gonzales, and they needed someone to document it because they needed to get all those out because they had another 5,000.
My goodness.
Yeah. So this was my indoctrination into this. Made the movie, then lived that for 3, 4 years, and said, "Hey, we could do this on a whole other scale." Because there's organizations like IFA, Humane Society of the United States, and they all have their communications and marketing departments. They have video, they all have editing teams, and so on. So my feeling was, let's create that for all these other organizations. We'll be the community version of the community, the communications department, if you will. And so we've been partnering with them ever since 2009. I filed our papers for World Animal, got our designation in January 2010. And to get to your question, and I'll get to it real quick. So the impetus from where and so on. When we started working with World Animal, we started getting sucked into stuff all over the world. I wanted to chase disasters to see what was going on. And so I was in Fukushima right after that happened. I was in Haiti right after that happened. And we're following all the different activities. And I was just starting to see like something's kind of wrong here. Then I was invited into like the dog type of work. And like we started telling stories and we figured out how to monetize what we're doing. We ended up building a few monetized YouTube channels that helps underwrite everything that we do, which brought us into all of these other spaces. And originally, we were calling these awards the Golden Duty Awards because we were highlighting the different nonprofits and who had the best story, who had the best rescue, and so we're having fun. We had a big platter of golden poo and but I for 20 years I'm like, no, I got to be running a film festival. We got to do this, and so I went back to my roots of creating Flicks Tour and doing this other stuff, and put these two things together, and that meant bringing along all of our nonprofit partners that we've always been kind of working together. Now we're trying to figure out how to. I want to support them more than just tell their stories. We want to see if we can financially support them. We want to find out if we can help grow their base of people. We want to figure out what the limits are of what we can do.
And do you have the same organizations each year, or will you have the same organizations each year? Are you hoping to grow some with different nonprofits?
That's a really great question. I'll tell you why. Because I'm pretty hard. I, but at the same time, I'm also very, very open. And I try to build bridges everywhere where I go. But most entities will get one crack with me. I come up at them with a really open hand and really trying to go, hey, let's do this. And if someone generally passes, there's something else that's going on. Because normally the ones that really kind of get it, they lean right into it. They go, oh. So I am rewarding organizations that have been with us for a while, and those have basically said no. We're going to have to travel a path a while before we figure out if we invite you. Right now, we have some really good partners, and they're starting to become really activated. They're really like understanding what this can become annually, right? We're thinking about doing this on quarterly in different cities, Houston, maybe Dallas and El Paso, and then we culminate at the end of the year here with our big annual, and that has us really, you know, one, finding a lot of content. There's a ton of content. We can constantly do this. I'm taking submissions 10, 11 months out of the year, and every month we could put out a whole short, form program that would be pretty cool. So I'm looking just to figure out how to make all of this work from a IP standpoint too.
Okay.
I do a lot of partnerships with a lot of the filmmakers. So building that portal to bring it's selfish. It's all BS. The only reason is because I want to find opportunities to work
Right.
with other people.
Right. I mean, it's yeah.
If I'm being selfish, we're all gonna like be all better off.
Everyone benefits. All right. So this year you have Dr. Temple Grandin, and she's a pretty, yes, amazing human being. Yes. So tell us a little bit about what made you decide to bring Temple in, and how has your experience been?
My experience is fantastic. I find her to be a total miracle. I'll back up to the beginning in just a second. I has to say that all of this happened this way because Keith and Shane here at the Woodlawn basically said yes to me coming to them and saying, "Hey, I really dig your place. We would like to throw a gathering here." And I run this film festival at the end of the year. They said, "Yeah, great." And I said, well, we want to bring Temple. They go, cool. And like, how much do we need? Nothing. We know we from ticket sales. So these guys have been super easy. But now I've got a big house. I got 1,000 seats I got to fill. You've got to have some kind of draw because we're dealing with films that nobody knows about. You have to want to come here because you're going to get to know these films. We're going to get to that point. We will. But in the meantime, we have to have people that will say yes and will bring in enough people to make it go. Temple helped cover the house 3 weeks ago. We knew we were good, so we had no price that we had to pay for the house. It was already done through ticket sales. Her program is an open door. She's creating an open door for us to create open doors for others, and that's how we feel that this whole process works. So the house saying yes, allowed me to say yes to Temple. Can you do it? And she said yes to me because she loves this. She's a fangirl. Not a, like she
I
met
love
Steven
that
Spielberg.
fangirl.
Did you know she met Steven Spielberg?
No, I did not.
All right, you missed this earlier. So 2 weeks ago, she was at the Smithsonian National Gallery where they hung her portrait in the National Gallery alongside Steven Spielberg, who she got to hang out with, and she was talking about him and movie making. You ask her about meeting Steven Spielberg, she'll pull out her thing and she'll show you the pictures. She's a fangirl. She's a total fangirl. So I had met her 15 years ago when I saw Temple Grandin, her movie, and um, just like in Close Encounters, where Richard Dreyfuss was affected, and he's like, "I got to go to Devil's Town. I got to go to this thing. I got to do this thing." I saw her movie with Claire Danes. I was at her apartment like a minute later, it seemed like, and we're having lunch, and I had a beef burrito, and so she relaxed. She's like, "Oh, he's all right. He's a beef eater." I'm not kidding. She was testing me. She's like, "If I'm going to sit down and do an interview with this clown who I've never met before." But then we went to her apartment for 3 hours. I got to interview her and I got to know her, and she became a mentor to our program. That was back in 2010. So 15 years, we haven't done really anything together, but I knew she would be available on this weekend because she likes to work. This is what she's built to do.
You can see her just thriving in her zone.
Totally. And so I thought it would be a good hit. We would try this, and it proved to be true. Now, moving forward, I have to find for every one of our days. We're here Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I need to have at least one big pillar tent pole act, whether it's Diane Warren comes in and sings some songs, or we get Kevin Smith to do an animation slam with us. I also produced a program called Potent Dogs. It's basically Planet of the Apes meets Transformers, the musical.
The musical, I love that. The musical.
You're going to love the show. It's amazing. It's amazing. I'm so proud of it. So, so the whole idea is, for me, this is my lane: animals, animal stories. It's part because I dig that, but it's also part franchise building. We want to be able to own a space. Like, I don't know anybody who's owning the space, but for me, the whole component is we're doing it to try to figure out how to help people. Like we're trying to have fun. We're trying to build these great content programs, from documentaries to viral YouTube channel, programs. Um, and I want to have this portal of the world so I can collaborate with people, and that's what we've been doing. Potent Dogs came out of 2021 NFAB.
Oh, well, that's fabulous. Where, Texas Media Maker, you are the owner. That's your company. Yes, yes. And tell me a little bit about your company.
So Texas Media Maker is separate from World Animal Awareness Society, the nonprofit, and the idea here is to start to, build a space where everybody can come and share their stories, so we can find ways to collaborate on a completely other level. Specifically here in San Antonio, we have no infrastructure really for TV or film. I'm personally, and I will lean into it, I'm in a battle with arts department. I'm in a battle with San Antonio assistant attorney, and I am trying to get them to change. So instead of doing that, we were building coalitions. So the idea is with Texas Media Maker is we're building a space that we can create all types of things that we need to help everybody elevate their game. And it comes down to simple things like, I think next week there's like 3 different events on the same night from guys who know each other that didn't properly even coordinate. Like if we have a board that we can go and all interact with, and we're dealing with that, we right, we can collaborate and we can actually support instead of these events becoming competitive events. Right. So it's simple things like that, but it's also more complex things like building a greater film commission. We're going to be tapping into some of the counties here. I'm working with Alamo City Studios and Jeremy Kaniski, and we're looking to really up what Alamo City Studios is. I think it should be the clubhouse for anybody making media here in town, but at just a starting point where we start to really build these spider web networks of all these companies that are here in town. So Texas Media Maker is, in essence, what we used to have in Detroit in our space. The producers associations and the others all had publications. They had the way to communicate all the different gigs they're working on, stuff they wanted to promote, all of that, casting, the behind the scenes, all of that. So, 20 years ago we stopped publishing, right? I'm so happy that you guys publish like a real magazine,
Yes, yes.
which is fantastic. So we're heading in that direction to go from digital to some really dynamic digital components to also putting out some really specialty print. I think it's really important to have hard copies of really important things.
I do too. People still love a great magazine, a great hard copy. So I agree with you. Lastly, on the name, I just want to ask you real quick: how did the name come about, Animalis Fabula?
So, Animalis Fabula. Animalis Fabula. If you listen to Kevin Smith, Animalis Fabula. I was being precocious. I wanted to be precocious. I was looking for something that had some fun kind of resonant thing for me. I didn't realize it was going to be so hard to say. Animalis is animals. Fabula, tale or story. So we're the film festival that shows animal stories. Animalis Fabula. Animalis Fabula.
And on that note, we are going to come to an end. Thank you so much for speaking with us.
It was really fun. I appreciate you. I do.
We appreciate you too.
We good?